Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome. My name is Annie Wu Henry. I use she, her pronouns. I am calling in this evening from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, particularly. Go Birds. And I am so excited to be on this call with all of you. I honestly wish we didn't have to keep doing calls like this, but I'm very energized by everyone joining things like tonight because I think it is such a critical moment that we are in as we are seeing, rights, liberties, freedoms being ripped away that we knew would be coming with this administration, but the clear corruption and interference from billionaires wanting to influence our government and democracy is not okay with me. And that is why I wanted to be a part of this call so we can take action in a moment when it feels like, you know, we all just want to do something. And so we have some really great guests tonight that I'm going to be so excited to introduce. And I want to give you a little bit of an overview of what the Tesla takedown organizing movement is all about. Tesla Takedown is a nonviolent protest movement that's bringing together people from all over the US and across the world. It's really amazing to see what can happen when you provide people with simple tools to create actions in their own communities. And all over the world, people are organizing decentralized, peaceful actions. And they are making a real difference. Thanks to everyone who hosted an action or has shown up to one of the protests that have already occurred. It has captured the world's attention. And like I said, we're going to be hearing from some incredible speakers, including activists, leaders, and most importantly, everyday people who are organizing in their communities to save our country. One thing you will notice as we introduce speakers is that many will have their Bluesky handle on the screen. So we really encourage you to follow along and to see, follow, amplify their important work. And also, a recording of this call will be available afterwards, so you can share it with your communities and kind of have that ripple domino effect. Our first speaker that I'm excited to introduce is New York City based and a community organizer. She's been organizing protests at the Tesla showroom in Manhattan. And can I just say the photos and videos of the protests have been truly amazing and such important types of journalism we need in this moment. So please welcome Alice Hu.
Good evening, everyone. So happy to see so many of you on this call. Like Annie said, my name is Alice Hu. I'm a New York City-based community organizer. I'm also the executive director of a grassroots organization called Planet Over Profit. Along with so many other amazing New York City-based organizers, I've played my part in staging some protests at the Manhattan showroom. The first time this happened about 6 weeks ago, there were a few dozen folks. We've now grown to having hundreds and hundreds of people at every single week's protest. It's been amazing to see. And that's been happening not just in Manhattan, not just in Brooklyn, but all over the country. So far, people have used our site to host more than 500 peaceful demonstrations, pickets, and protests in 37 states in Washington, D.C. And not only that, but in 9 different countries around the world. We also know there have been many, many more that have been planned, that did happen, but that just weren't registered on our site. So I don't even know how many protests have taken place in reality. It's definitely way more than 500. But we want to take the next step, which is why on March 29th, we're aiming to do 500 actions on a single day, on March 29th. We want to make sure that there is a peaceful demonstration at all 277 showrooms in the United States. And that means we'll need 223 more around the world to make our target of 500 protests. The reason we're calling for this is simple. It's because we need people to step up. We need you and I and all of us to step up. We need to show Elon that he can throw a tantrum online because his stocks are tanking. He can get Trump to put on a humiliating used car show in front of the White House. That these wannabe authoritarians can try to intimidate us from exercising our First Amendment rights, but they can't stop us from fighting back. They can't stop us from fighting back against their gutting of the US government. They can't stop us from fighting back from their cutting of critical social services and institutions that hundreds of millions of people in the US and abroad rely on. And what's more, if you are not sure you live near a showroom, there is still a way for you to get involved. If you don't live near a showroom, go to teslatakedown.com and plan an event at a nearby supercharger station. If there's no charging station near you, then just pick a random busy street corner in your town and invite your community to turn out. We want to send a message loud and clear on March 29th with 500 peaceful actions around the world. And we need people around the world. We need all of you guys to join in. So please take a look at the tools at teslatakedown.com so we can see where all the protests are. And I'm hoping to see all of your beautiful content and pictures of your protests online on March 29th.
Thank you so much, Alice. Those numbers are really incredible. And you heard her, everyone. We're setting a really bold goal for March 29th, a protest at every Tesla showroom in the United States, a total of 500 protests across the globe. Our next speaker needs no introduction, but it's my job to introduce him anyway. Alex Winter is an actor, director, and writer who has worked across film, television, and theater. He's known for making award-winning, topical, and politically oriented documentaries, including The YouTube Effect, Zappa, and Showbiz Kids. As an actor, Winter recently co-starred in the anticipated third installment in the Bill and Ted franchise, Bill and Ted Face the Music. His documentary work includes The Panama Papers, Deep Web, and Downloaded. And he's helped us all remember that in our movement, it's our job to be excellent to each other. Please welcome Alex Winter.
There we go. How's it going? Thanks so much, Annie. It's really great to have you here and great to see everybody on this thing. Like most of the world, I was appalled by Elon Musk's Nazi salute, which kicked off his all-out assault on our government. And I wasn't surprised to see people protesting him soon after that. There was a protest in early February at a Tesla store that caught my eye because only one person picketing attracted a huge group of bystanders who were also being adversely affected by Musk and his criminal actions with Doge. Then more protests sprouted up in mid-February, and I decided to protest at a Tesla store in my town. I expected it to just be me and maybe one other person. But when I got there with my little sign, there were dozens of protesters, and within an hour, there were close to 100. This was a fun, peaceful event. It was friendly to the bystanders, friendly to the employees of the store. It was a good vibe, hopeful, filled with solidarity, just ordinary concerned citizens worried about Elon Musk and his attack on all of us. I'm a big believer in nonviolent protest as protected by the First Amendment. It's a constitutional right, and it's foundational to a working democracy. And it's been wild to see the tens of thousands of citizens around the world who are now organizing these grassroots, nonviolent Tesla takedown protests. They're like parties with dancing and music. One had a mariachi band. We had marching bands. Another one had Joan Baez playing her guitar in Palo Alto. It was pretty rad. But I think the Tesla takedown matters for several key reasons. One is that it gives many people a means to get out in peaceful protest to make their voices heard. Very important right now. And it also matters because it helps people to learn the facts about the reckless and deadly activities of Musk and Doge that are impacting people directly. But as far as actually taking Tesla down, I don't think that's actually on any of the protesters. Elon Musk only has himself to blame for tanking this company. Tesla was permanently tarnished the moment Musk gave that Nazi salute and followed it with his brutal attack on the lives of ordinary citizens. It's all on Elon. There is no conspiracy. There is no well-funded cabal. It's just Elon Musk who has taken Tesla down. And meanwhile, the protests will continue to grow. They won't stop until Musk is stopped. That means more people in the streets, more people learning the facts about his attack on our democracy, more people who aren't afraid of standing up to corruption and bullies. There are millions and millions of us, and when we all stand together in solidarity, that's when we win. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been out in the street. Thanks to everyone who's going to be coming out in the street. It's just getting started. Thank you.
That was super inspiring, Alice. Alex, thank you so much for joining us and for everything you're doing for fighting for this and for our future. Our next speaker makes every decision with one goal in mind: protecting the civil liberties of those in underrepresented communities. As a public defender and civil rights and criminal defense attorney, she protected our most vulnerable from exploitation in the criminal justice system, especially children. In the Texas State House, she was a founding member of both the Texas Progressive Caucus as well as the Texas Caucus on Climate, Energy, and the Environment. She was sworn into Congress in 2023, where she serves on the House Judiciary Committee and the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. You've seen her on the floor of the House of Representatives on C-SPAN and probably also on your social media feeds. It's my honor to welcome Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, United States Representative for the 30th Congressional District in Texas.
Thank you so much, Annie. And I won't hold y'all because I know how much people love to listen to politicians. So I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes. Listen, I have learned as I serve on the DOJ Oversight Committee that there is only one language that the people that are in charge understand right now. And that language is money. And so I've been so proud to see us organize behind a cause, because here's the deal. The things that we're fighting for, we are fighting for our country. We're fighting for democracy. We're fighting for our freedoms. And when I say fighting, I'm saying that figuratively. Obviously, everything that I am promoting is nonviolent. And so definitely don't want anyone to take that word literal in any way. But I think that it is important that we say that we stand for freedom in this country. We stand for our Constitution in this country. And the best way to show that we are American is by using our constitutional rights and deciding that we are going to engage in protest, especially when we have elected officials and then unelected people like him. But we have elected officials that don't even want to listen to the people. This is a way to yell and scream at people that are trying to close their ears to everything that the people are crying out for. Because when we are looking at a democracy, especially a democratic republic, as we reside in, then it is supposed to be the people's voices that are heard. But right now, we've got people that are saying, you know what, forget what the people are saying. Ignore them and take their livelihoods away from them. Take their ability at attaining the American dream away from them. And we'll just close our ears and pretend like they don't exist. Well, let me tell you, on March 29th, I want you to raise your voices all over the world, and I want you to be heard in such a way that no matter how much they try to ignore you, they just can't. And what we are seeing is that because people are driving this movement, we've seen that now the board is saying, hey, Elon, you need to step aside because you're messing up everything. We saw here recently that Tesla is not being welcomed in Canada, in Vancouver, because they are afraid of what may come along with that. And so, listen, if our government refuses to listen, there's another way to really make them think hard about listening to you. And it comes in the form of your protest. So I just want to say thank you, because I think far too often people forget that the real power lies literally with the people. And so to see how many people are out here and they're passionate and they are concerned about whether it's their personal identifying information that has been turned over or maybe not, or who knows, because they've lied and they've, kept everything from us, whether it's that information that they gain from the Treasury Department, whether it's information they gain from Social Security, whether it's the fact that we are fighting or we're trying to preserve the Social Security for our mothers and our grandmothers and ourselves, as literally Elon has sat around and said things such as, it's a Ponzi scheme. And the only Ponzi that I see that is scheming is him. He right now is trying to line his pockets with money that should be going to those that need it most, whether it's in the form of healthcare, whether it's in the form of food, whether it's in the form of foreign aid. The things that he is doing, they are harming our country, and there is no reason that we should be looking out and trying to say, well, this guy is the richest man and we just need to make him richer. You are sending a message, and I am so thankful. I'm going to keep screaming in the halls of Congress. I just need y'all to make sure that y'all keep screaming in the streets. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Please go out there, be safe, make sure that you understand what the rules are where you live. Make sure that if you have the ability, if there's any legal counsel, especially when we're talking about doing this all over the world, we want to make sure that we consult with attorneys. That is one of the things that I miss the most. Is I used to always assist whenever there were protests so that people would understand the law exactly where they were. So make sure if you've got an opportunity, pull your group together, get legal counsel to advise you of where you can be, where you can't be, how close you can be, what the signs can look like, and all those things. But obviously, no matter what, no matter where we are, we know that we are a peaceful, loving people. And this is not about violence. That's what they do when they do insurrections, like on January 6th. What we do is we are fighting to preserve freedom in this country for everyone, even people that don't even realize that it's their freedoms that are on the chopping block as well. So thank you again and good luck. Give me a great birthday present.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman, for your powerful words, advice, fighting every day for all of us, and happy early birthday. Our next speaker is a federal worker who works every day to make sure we can breathe clean air, drink clean water, and so much more. She's a member of the American Federation of Government Employees and the Federal Unionists Network, an organization of federal workers and union members fighting to defend civil service. So needed right now. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you putting this on. It's so important. So I'm a federal worker. I'm here representing the Federal Unionists Network, which is a network of federal workers like myself and union members fighting to defend our civil services and, frankly, these attacks on all of civil society. Right now, as a federal worker, I can tell you it's pretty bleak. All of us are feeling scared and demoralized. Most of my coworkers, and I've met so many federal workers over the past several months in our network. And one of the most common stories that I hear is that, people are just really freaked out. They haven't had to figure out how to make ends meet. They worked really hard to get where they are. They thought they were going to have fulfilling and stable careers. And now they have to figure out how to pay their mortgage, how to find housing on top of another job, for example, like our friends at the Park Service. So this is really a tough time for federal workers. And for me, I went into civil service because I wanted to ensure that everyone has access to safe drinking water. That's what I do at work every day. And now I'm increasingly concerned that the federal funding freezes, the mass firings, they're all going to severely impact that. And what is really happening right now is that there's a shadow president who is an unelected billionaire trying to steal our vital services from hardworking Americans. That's what's happening. And it's all to make his friends and himself richer. So just a couple days ago, the administration announced plans to dismantle almost the entire research arm of the Environmental Protection Agency, impacting over 1,000 workers. I can tell you that the research that they do over there is extremely important. They research things like how to deal with water contamination after a major wildfire or a storm, which is going to be increasingly severe and in frequency and severity. The administration also is planning to cut 80,000 jobs at the VA, which will leave hospitals understaffed. And this is not just an attack on patients and depriving them of care. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but veterans make up over 30% of the federal workforce. So this is putting veterans out of a job. This is pushing them into unemployment. The same kind of cuts is happening at Department of Education, right? We're seeing DOE being gutted, which means class sizes are going to soar, and services for students with disabilities and access needs will be totally eliminated. This is all a scheme to weaken public services for eventual privatization. I think to date, since the Trump administration took office, there's been 24,000 probationary workers who have been terminated. Last week, I think a lot of us heard that there was a small win. There was a judge ruling that said that terminated probationary workers need to be reinstated immediately. But the administration also immediately announced that they will challenge the court ruling. If you heard the news today, they're going to go after federal judges who disagree with them, right? So the courts will not save us. We need to save ourselves. So the Federal Unionist Network definitely supports people taking nonviolent action in this grassroots protest movement to defend our jobs and save our vital services. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. We're fighting for you and your colleagues across the federal government who keep our country strong. Our next guest is a political journalist based in San Francisco who formerly served as an opinion editor for the Sacramento Bee and the San Francisco Examiner. With deep background in California politics, he was the chief communication strategist and spokesman for Governor Jerry Brown, Senator Dianne Feinstein, Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Gusaro. I am so sorry for butchering that. And she does not need an introduction, but Kamala Harris. Now, his writing appears regularly in the New Republic and San Francisco Examiner. His work delivers unfiltered and powerful insights and commentary on the dangerous rise of tech fascism, including his recent breakthrough reporting, which has revealed Silicon Valley high-tech billionaires merging extreme right-wing politics with invasive and pervasive technology. Please welcome Jill Duran.
My name is Gil Duran, and I'm a journalist who writes about tech fascism at thenerdreich.com. For years, I've tracked the tech billionaires now dismantling our government. I've read their books, I've listened to their podcasts, I've gone to their conferences. So let me tell you what they truly want, because it's not just about money, it's about power. Silicon Valley's favorite word is disruption, and tech companies have disrupted communication, shopping, travel, and many other aspects of our lives. And some of those changes were good, connecting us across cities, states, and continents, as we're doing right now. But now Silicon Valley billionaires don't want to just disrupt markets. They want to disrupt democracy itself. A small group of tech billionaires, people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, under the influence of a man named Curtis Yarvin and other right-wing philosophers, believe democracy is obsolete. Their vision is to replace democratic nations with corporate dystopias under billionaire control. These are ideas that sound crazy, but they've been openly discussed in Silicon Valley circles for years. Some call it dark MAGA, the dark enlightenment, or the network state. In plain English, it's a dangerous ideology of tech supremacy. These billionaires believe they are destined to rule the world. They believe the time has come to capture existing governments and remake the rules in their own favor. They seek to collapse democratic societies like the United States and replace democracy with corporate dictatorships. They want to replace the dollar with crypto, giving them even more unprecedented power over our world. They desire to control every power center: government, police, media, academia, even religion. And they're already trying to build new corporate-controlled cities, which Trump calls freedom cities. But they're not talking about freedom for us. They mean freedom for billionaires who want to escape democracy, rules, and the law. This sounds unhinged, but look at what's happening in the news. They're trying to do this right now. And I think these men pose an existential threat to our freedom and our way of life. But here's the thing. They built their empires with help from our labor, our government, our money, and our public trust. And we're not going to allow them to use that power that we gave them to dismantle the very democracy that enabled their success. That's why the Tesla takedown matters so much, because you're proving that even the world's richest man can be held accountable and can be cut down to size. But this isn't just about one man or one company. This isn't about being the opposition or the resistance. This is a moral movement in defense of freedom, justice, and human rights. And this is a mission to defend our country, our democracy, and our future from those who are determined to destroy it. And we're going to win, because ours is not a government of, by, and for billionaires. It's a government of, by, and for the people. And together we have a moral destiny to make sure that Elon Musk and his weird cronies learn this lesson and never forget it. Thank you.
That is some incredibly scary stuff, Gil. I don't know about everyone else, but I'm more fired up than ever to stop these techno-fascists and defend our country. Our next speaker has been following Elon Musk since he first forced his way into the auto industry. He's an author of Ludicrous, an unvarnished story of Tesla Motors, and the co-host of the AutoNoCast, a leading podcast of mobility technology. I'm so sorry for the pronunciation issues, guys. He has been covering and commenting on the auto industry and future transportation technologies since 2008 and has been published in the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Bloomberg, Reuters, and many other outlets. He lives in Portland, Oregon, and has been hosting Tesla takedown protests that get bigger every single week. And somehow is also working on his second book about Tesla. Welcome, Edward Niedermeyer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's incredible to be here. This has been a really long journey to this moment today, and it's just so incredible to see so many people here and so much energy. 10 years ago, I was just a guy who had the bad luck to know a little bit about something that most people don't, called battery swap, which is a technology, has to do with electric cars. Elon Musk started talking about it, and I noticed that he didn't really make any sense when he was talking about it. And so I took a decision that seemed like a perfectly normal one at the time, but that was actually quite radical, as it turns out, which was to not take everything that he said at face value, but to go and actually look for myself. I don't have the time right now to tell you the whole story of what happened. You can read about it in my book. But essentially what I found was that nothing that everyone took for granted about Tesla was real. Their leadership in technology was not real. Their commitment to the environment was not real. And what I found that they were doing was scamming a government program in order to make their business look more real than it actually was. This was the start of a journey of 10 years now that took me through every aspect of Tesla's business. And everywhere I looked, I found deception, fraud, and abuse. Now, throughout that whole process, I kept expecting the cavalry to ride to the rescue. I thought I was just a little guy with a blog and a Twitter account. I could send up a warning flare and the cavalry would come and the government regulators would ride to the rescue. I thought the adults were coming. And it turns out the adults have finally come, and they're us. As much as I wish we'd all gotten together to do this sooner, you all actually have much, much better timing than I do. And that's because for 10 years, I was pushing this boulder uphill. And now all we have to do together, there's so many more of us, and all we have to do is roll it further downhill. It's already going downhill. Behind the mythology that I started to look behind 10 years ago, Tesla's business has been rotting on the vine. Today, its sales are falling. Its profits are falling. Its only new product in almost a decade is a massive flop. Because Elon's entire empire is based on overhype, he can't turn any of his paper wealth into cash. Tesla is his only liquid investment. And if we can make the brand and the stock toxic just by growing our crowds and showing that we have the momentum and he doesn't, we can bring down not just Tesla, but his entire empire. This is within our reach. Elon's wealth, his paper, the number on paper is so massive, it looks like the Death Star. But Tesla is the fatal flaw. The fact that he can't build real businesses is the fatal flaw. Tesla is the thermal port that allows us to take down the whole thing. Our most powerful weapon in this battle is the truth. It's not violence, it's the truth. And the truth is Elon is bad at building businesses. This is why he shouldn't be in government. The whole idea of him being in government is that he's good in business and he will fix business the way he's fixed government. But he's bad at building businesses. That's why he shouldn't be in government, but that's also why he's vulnerable to us. This is our opportunity to wield political power directly. This is something that hasn't happened very much in our country. And it's time to take down a man who's done colossal harm and will do more harm if we don't stop him. Take a moment, look around at all the people on this call. The cavalry is here. The adults are in the room. All of us here have the power to take down Tesla and with it, Elon and his entire empire. I know it sounds absurd, but that opportunity couldn't be more real. We all have our reasons for being here, but the one thing that unites us is that we're all fighters. We all understand that bullies are people that have to be stood up for. That's what we all have in common. That's what we can all do. And if we all chip in a little bit together, the possibilities that will happen once we bring down Tesla and we bring down this entire empire of inflated paper, fake paper wealth, the whole world and how we engage in politics in the future will be forever changed. And I'm so excited and thrilled and honored to be a part of this movement.
Thank Thank you so much, Edward, for being here with us and sharing your deep knowledge of just how vulnerable Musk is in this moment. Our next guest is a New Jersey resident, as a PA person, kidding, but a resident, wife, and mother of two who works in the biotechnology sector. She didn't include this, but it is a good time to remember that Elon Musk is heading the charge to gut our nation's health sciences and research, which will leave us with be more vulnerable to epidemics and stop important research into new treatments and cures. Aspiring scientists, medical professionals, and researchers like Natasha are already being fired or denied opportunity, and it's up to us to protect science. That's exactly what Natasha is doing by stepping up to organize Tesla takedown actions at her local showroom and as an outreach manager for the New Jersey chapter of the 50501 movement. Today, she's going to be speaking about her unique Tesla takedown experience. Welcome, Natasha.
Hi, everyone. It's such an honor to be here among this incredible panel and with all of you, the people that are making the Tesla takedowns happen every day. As soon as I heard about the Tesla takedown movement, I felt like it was my duty as a Tesla owner to be a part of this in any way possible. But as sickened as I had been over the actions of Elon Musk, my husband and I didn't feel like it was financially feasible for me to trade in my car. So I purchased an anti-Elon bumper sticker and slapped it on to show my support. But shortly after, I begged my husband to drive me to my first ever Tesla takedown in his Mach-E so I wouldn't have to die of embarrassment. I had no idea what an incredible turnout it would be. I stood with hundreds of others chanting, holding signs, sharing our stories, and getting waves and thumbs up from so many of the cars that passed. We all talked about the movement, why we were involved, and how Doge is impacting us and our loved ones. I got home and was like, oh no, what do I have to do next? So the next morning, I researched how to debadge my car, which is removing the Tesla logos off the front and back. It's very simple. And I was all set to do it, but then I just felt like I had to do something bigger. So the next 2 weeks became a mad scramble to figure out what car we could afford and how I could trade my Tesla in the biggest, loudest way possible so that I could bring people into this movement. I ended up settling on a pre-owned Polestar 2, which is a great choice if price is a concern, which I found at the Polestar location right next door to the Tesla showroom where I had bought my Tesla 15 months prior. It was perfect. I reached out to the Indivisible group that does Tesla takedowns in that area, and of course, they were just as excited as I was about a Tesla takedown trade-in. So on March 8th, I showed up at the protest, I shouted my story into the bullhorn. Then I ran next door with my family and signed the paperwork on the Polestar, said goodbye to my Tesla, and then went back to Tesla for a little bit more protesting. We actually managed to get it all on video, and we had hundreds of thousands of views. I was blown away. The most incredible thing has been reading the comments, hearing people's stories, and actually being told that videos like this have given them hope or inspired them even to trade in their own Tesla. So to everyone listening tonight, my message is this: figure out what you can do and then go do that thing. Not everyone can afford to break their Tesla lease or trade in their car. Not everyone's going to make it out to every protest. But what everyone can do is share real, factual information. Share information about what's happening in our government right now. Share information about this movement and why it matters to you. Speak not just with your words, but with how you spend your time and your money, what social media you use. You may think that that one little decision you make isn't going to have a huge impact, but I'm here to tell you that I did something as simple as buying a bumper sticker, and now I'm not going to stop talking about all of this until we truly take Tesla down. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Be well, all.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Absolutely love that story. And one thing we've heard from so many people, including yourself, is that they wish they're able to get rid of their Tesla, but for one reason or another, they can't. And so if that describes you, one thing you can do, just like Natasha did, is pick a sticker or two so folks can see your car and know what side you're on, and maybe they will follow along. And of course, you can come out to your local Tesla takedown action. I'm thrilled to welcome our next guest, Nicole Regalado, which is the Vice President of Campaigns at Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is a woman-led gender justice organization with more than 1 million members online. And by the way, thank you to Nicole and to the whole Ultraviolet team for helping us get the word out about this call that we're on. So Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I cannot be more thrilled to be on this call. I'm so hyped from hearing all the speakers that spoke before me. Congresswoman Crockett is a hero of mine, and I am just so humbled to be in this space. So here's the thing. We at Ultraviolet know a thing or two about calling out toxic, entitled men and how to bring them to justice. As a national gender justice organization, we've held misogynists like Bill O'Reilly and Andrew Tate accountable. We know that, like other entitled billionaires, Elon Musk's power relies on our money. We also know that what we do with our money matters, and it matters a lot. Women alone make up 85% of purchases in the United States. Imagine what would happen if women came together. Imagine what would happen if we all came together and decided to move our money away from Elon Musk's companies. The energy we are seeing across the country for calling out and stopping Musk is just incredible. Ultraviolet's pledge to boycott Musk's companies, signed by more than 25,000 people, immediately took off because working women and people are sick and tired of billionaires controlling our lives, and we are ready to resist and make real money moves. If you want to sign our pledge and throw down with us, text Money Moves to 98688. That's Money Moves to 98688. As a woman, let me tell you, I'm also sick and tired of the Musk-Trump administration committing horrific acts in my name. The administration keeps hurting our transgender siblings, immigrant family members, our communities, using the excuse of protecting women. Their actions harm all of us, and their words insult our intelligence. We already know what they're going to do. We know their playbook. We've seen it before. We know that Trump and Musk will try to hurt all of us. They're going to try to hurt women, transgender folks, immigrants, Black people, working families, literally everyone. And then they're going to try and get us to turn against each other. They want us to point the finger at one another while they laugh and cut up and steal the country that we and our ancestors have built. But just like all other bullies, we see them and we see their game, and we're going to shut it down. And I can tell from the energy in this space, from the turnout, from the folks that are watching, the thousands of folks that are watching, that we're going to fight back, and we're going to fight back hard. So when we're all out there peacefully protesting in front of a Tesla dealership, I want us all to remember that we are holding each other. We are embracing each other. We are fighting back and saying no to the attacks on women, no to the attacks on trans people, no to taking away our voices, no to taking our immigrant neighbors from our communities. No, no, and hell no. Thank you so much for everyone who are joining our call tonight, and thank you so much for bringing your energy to this work. We so need you.
Thank you so much. It's amazing to think about how much power we have through what we buy and how much power women can wield with our choices specifically. I'm sure everyone on this call knows our next guest, but what you might not know is that in addition to an actor and filmmaker, John Cusack is a founding board member of the Freedom of the Press Foundation. John is a co-author of the book Things That Can and Cannot Be Said, a series of reflections on the nature of the state, empire, and surveillance in an era of perpetual war, the meaning of flags and patriotism, the role of foundations and NGOs in limiting dissent, and the ways in which capital and not people can freely cross borders. Wow, all very relevant right now. John Cusack, thank you so much for joining us tonight. John, I think you're muted.
How's that? Damn, I'm that guy. Anyway, I was going to say what Alex Winter and Gil Duran said, and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. And, you know, what can I add that you guys haven't already said? You know, Musk is kind of this arch villain of late stage capitalism, and he seems like this clown and this buffoon. But like Alex said, you know, this is a man who made a Sieg Heil Nazi salute, not only in public, but at a presidential victory party. It's good to remember that these are unprecedented times of mass criminality going on in the United States right now. And that, like Trump, Musk is a pathological liar. He's a criminal. He's a sociopath and a ghoul. And I mean those terms very precisely, because who else would use his own child as a sympathy prop while literally taking starving aid away from people all over the world? He's literally killing people. People are going to die because of this madness. He's a man who threw 80,000 people from the VA out of work indiscriminately. And as far as the plunder, I would urge everybody to really follow Bernie Sanders' Fighting Oligarchy tour and listen to what he has to say, because the list of abuses is too big to even tackle within 5 or 10 minutes. But I think it's important to know that not only are they trying to steal everything that isn't bolted down to the floor, but as they get into these systems and plunder, he's also interested in the metadata. So when he gets into the Treasury, the metadata is all the connections between all of us who are talking right now, everything we've ever looked at online, every car we've ever tried to buy, or any movie we watched, anything we've done. All that stuff is metadata is like the new oil for these people. And so it's as bad as you think it is, it's even worse. So I think everybody should really enjoy taking this guy down and this stock down. And because of the example it will set, you know, nothing's going to, we are in an oligarchic country that's fascist and becoming more fascist every day. And that means people are going to die, and it's going to get as ugly as we can think. And the only way to stop that is if the people who have the money are afraid of us, the 99%. And, you know, even people who have money, we don't count. You know, even if you make a good living, you don't count. It's the people who own the society, the owners. Those people, we have to make them really afraid. And what's happening now with Musk is making them very afraid. And that's a good thing. So I just wanted to say you should all feel very, you should feel very proud to be doing what you're doing and know that this is the model, I think, that will affect change. And so instead of repeating what everybody else said, I just want to say I'm happy to be here with you guys, and solidarity all the way, and solidarity everywhere across all these platforms, across all these movements. At the Freedom of Press Foundation, we've just done a nice thing where Wired has decided that all of their journalism that FOIA uses, that they use FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, to do reporting on Doge and these abuses, they're going to make that free for people beyond the paywall. So we're hoping that other news orgs will see, you know, this is not only is it a great thing to do and a good civic thing to do, but it's probably good business, because Wired has now found that people are subscribing because they're so psyched at what Wired is doing, right? So we have to have solidarity across everybody else, every movement, our Jewish brothers and Palestinian brothers and sisters fighting for peace, every anti-war movement, yes, race, gender, all those things, but class. Every moment those motherfuckers don't pay tax, and every moment that they can change the subject and do one of their diversions, they're winning. So it's time to make them pay. And this is working. So I'm really proud to be with you all. Thank you very much. And solidarity, man.
Thank you, John. Solidarity forever. And I know you've got a lot of fans on this call, and some of them I'm sure became even bigger fans tonight. Our next speaker couldn't join us in person, but wanted to send a message. She introduces herself better than I ever could, so I'll just say that her message is so important. This is Lauren Regan, the founder of Civil Liberties Defense Center and a hardcore movement attorney.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Regan. I'm the founder and director of litigation and advocacy for the Civil Liberties Defense Center. We defend environmental and social justice activists around the country, and we have done so for about 22 years. I've been a movement lawyer for almost 28 years now, and I was asked to just spend a minute with you talking about the importance of remaining resilient and strong during time periods of heightened state repression, even if that means sort of putting on a brave face when your hands are actually shaking. In part, this is super important because during time periods where the government and corporations are attempting to crack down on dissent or crack down on activism, if they believe that that tactic is working for them, if they think that state repression is actually successful in silencing you, then you're going to see them double down on that tactic, and it's only going to get more pronounced and more impactful on our movement spaces. So the other thing I just wanted to mention to you is looking at the 28-year arc of history that I've been a part of our movements as a lawyer. I also wanted to tell you that even during periods of heightened state repression, the total number of people who are actually targeted by that repression is quite low. Out of tens of thousands of environmental and animal rights activists, only about 20 actually were targeted with either grand jury subpoenas or federal prosecutions. And that's not to say that the harm that was caused to those folks wasn't significant, because it was. But they can't arrest us all, they can't target us all, and their goal is to just pluck a few individuals out and scare the rest of us into submission and apathy. The other thing to know is that oftentimes the state will work with its corporations to create new laws or enhanced criminal laws, like some of these state domestic terrorism laws. However, what I will say is, in all of my experience, number one, it's very rare that the state actually uses these statutes to prosecute activists, because they know that there is a strong likelihood that those statutes will be found unconstitutional, and they want the statute to stay on the books in order to scare us. More important than thinking about the political times that we're in is thinking about your geography, thinking about what jurisdiction you are in. There are going to be some areas of the country that are very conservative and are going to be hard on dissidents or activists, no matter what the timing. And then there are other places that are going to be less so. So know your history, know your jurisdiction. It's time to be strategic and effective, but it's not time to be afraid or silenced.
This will definitely be a moment when we all need our courage, and I'm glad to have Lauren's expertise and encouragement. Our next speaker helped organize and unionize her workplace at Piedmont Airlines. When Piedmont management refused to negotiate in good faith, Katura organized her colleagues to secure a 100% strike authorization vote that led to a major first contract. In 2022, Katura was elected Executive Vice President of the Association of Flight Attendants, CWA. In addition to advocating for flight attendants, she is National Treasurer for Pride at Work and members of the Executive Board of the Union Veterans Council, both part of the AFL-CIO. Solidarity forever. Katura, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And solidarity forever to everyone. Thankful to be here. I am a proud queer union combat veteran. That's how I start off. And as everyone has stated, we are under attack. These attacks are personal to me, and as I'm sure they are very personal to a lot of you who are on this call today. When I joined the Army, I served under Don't Ask, Don't Tell during OEF, which is Operation Enduring Freedom. I was deployed. I was in Afghanistan when President Obama repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I was fighting for freedoms folks didn't know that they needed, that I didn't know that I needed, and as we've heard on this call, that we're still fighting for. When we come home, we're not okay. We rely heavily on the VA. I rely on the VA, and not just for medical support. When they say trans service members aren't welcome, that's an attack on veterans. When they say women shouldn't be allowed to have combat roles, that's an attack on veterans. When they fire Black generals, and that's an attack on veterans and an attack on workers. So when Donald Trump and Elon Musk fire federal workers, they're firing veterans. When they fire VA workers, they're firing veterans and people who make sure that veterans get the care that we need and that we earned and that we deserve. So yes, I get pretty fucking fired up about that shit. They're stealing our benefits right from veterans, folks who fought for your rights, like myself. Trump's assault on VA workers is it a personal attack on my battle buddies who I fought with, many I'm sure who are on this call today. So trying to erase our benefits and our rights, they're even trying to erase people that look like me and love like me from history books and from our country's future, knowing that we built it. It's also an attack on our members and myself, and that makes it personal. I am proud to represent 50,000 very diverse flight attendants who are also known as aviation's first responders. And if you haven't heard that before, remember that. Flight attendants do save lives, so please respect and listen to your flight attendants when you do fly. When Musk fires FAA workers and Trump tears up the TSA union contract, they are putting members in danger and you. So just so you know, we got your back, AFGE. And I also take that personally. When my life and other lives are put in danger, that is a safety issue. I grew up overseas in Kenya, so I saw firsthand life-saving and life-changing work of organizations that supported and relied on aid from the US. And I see and feel the impact because Kenya is my home, not a shithole country. So if you do not feel the impact yet, it's coming. But right now, I just want folks to please recognize your privilege and use it as power. Solidarity is a verb, and we need folks to be doing the right thing. And it starts by simply speaking up and showing out. So as we've been hearing, the peaceful Tesla takedown protests are working. So let's continue to show up on March 29th. Every Tesla store in America, 500 around the world, find one near you and show up. I don't know a lot right now, as many folks, but I know one thing, and that is when we fight, we win. And there is power in numbers. And so how I like to end is fuck around and find out, protect trans folks, respect veterans, flight attendants save lives, and let's take Tesla the fuck down. Solidarity forever.
That is some inspiring energy. FAFO. Thank you, Katura, for those powerful words. Micah Lee is up next and was one of the first journalists banned by Elon Musk after the billionaire bought Twitter, which I will always be calling it is the only okay thing to dead name. Now Micah writes software to help people delete their tweets and stay private and secure online. In his investigative journalism, Micah works to expose the far right and hold the broligarchs accountable. Micah, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey everyone, I'm Micah Lee calling in from Northern California. I'm excited to be here. I'm an investigative journalist and a hacker. So yeah, back in 2022, when I was the director of information security at The Intercept, I wrote a lot of articles about Elon Musk taking over Twitter. I wrote about how he immediately started purging prominent leftist accounts, how he brought back previously banned neo-Nazis and anti-vaxxers. Oh, sorry, this is my cat Malcolm. And I also wrote about how basically Twitter users were now subject to Elon Musk's arbitrary whims. So naturally, I was one of the 8 journalists that he decided to permanently suspend from Twitter because he didn't like my speech. But then a few days later, after posting a Twitter poll, he changed his mind and unbanned me. But I was still locked out of my account until I deleted the tweet that the billionaire didn't like. So instead of deleting it, I just didn't use Twitter for about a year, and oh my God, it was so much nicer. So if you are still using X, I highly recommend that you quit. Even if you have a lot of followers, it's not worth it. So now I'm part of a workaround collective that makes open source security and privacy software. We make an app called SID. You can find it at sid.social. It's CYD for clawback your data. that helps you delete all of your data from X, including deleting all of your tweets for free. If you want to, Sid could also help you migrate your old tweets into Bluesky, and we're adding support for Facebook and Instagram too, because we need to defeat all of the oligarchs, not just Elon. Freeing yourself from fascist social media is really good for your mental health, but I'm really excited about Tesla Takedown. We're a nonviolent grassroots protest movement that's focused on an actual winnable strategy to bring down Elon Musk. If we kill the Tesla brand, if we drive down the stock price low enough, we can force him to sell his stock to pay back the billions of dollars of debt that he took on to buy Twitter. This will drive Tesla stock into a death spiral. The fascists are purging the government of their critics. They're sending innocent people to Guantanamo Bay. Democrats are either asleep at the wheel or actively collaborating with them. There are no elections coming up. Tanking Tesla's stock is a very solid strategy, and it's one of the only solid strategies that's really been articulated to deal with this moment. And if we're successful, we will collapse Elon Musk's wealth, and with it, his power.
It's always such a treat to learn with people with such experience. Thank you, Micah, and also Malcolm. We're almost at the end, but we have a few more powerful speakers you want to hear from. Joan Donovan is an assistant professor of journalism and emerging media studies in the College of Communications at Boston University and studies media manipulation, disinformation, and online political movements. In 2020, she wrote a book called Meme Wars about the rise of the far right online and how it reshaped Republican politics. She helped catalyze the Tesla takedown movement by calling for a massive picket across the US in early February 2025. She wakes up every day excited to see how the people taking action locally and online as part of this movement are reshaping American politics. Welcome, Professor Donovan.
Wow, I'm really excited to be here. This is wicked cool. I'm like one of these nerds that really tries to look for the bright side of things. And I was really inspired by a group of protesters in Maine that Alex mentioned earlier. And I thought to myself, we have one of the biggest Tesla dealerships here in Boston, a flagship store. It's right in the middle of Boylston Street downtown. If I go out and it's just me and my friend Mike and his daughter, I've spent an afternoon protesting and I feel better about myself. I was particularly unnerved by the speed at which DOJ went in and took apart USAID, fired federal employees. Of course, I wanted to express my solidarity and how I wanted people to think about this moment. And so I just got fed up and posted online that this is where I was going to be on this day, and other people, if you want to join in and do protests in other areas, go for it. The sidewalk is ours. And I didn't know what to expect when I pulled up on that first Saturday, February 15th. But the folks in Boston got it. They were out there. I was one of about 50 people that first day. And shout out to all of the great organizers that have been moving things around to make sure that we have entertainment. We had a 15-piece brass band recently. We had a chorus another day. But it's growing, and every week we go back and there's 100 more people and 100 more people and 100 more people. And then the protests spread across the United States in all of these interesting ways that I've studied for years, but haven't really experienced since, I guess I would say, the days of the George Floyd protests in 2020. And so it's really exciting to see people uniting around actions and picket lines at Tesla. So I really want to stress that March 29th, we have another big day of action, get Musk out of office. And I think it's really important in moments like these where we're debriefing, when we're talking to each other across the movement, is to do exactly what Micah was saying, which is share some tips and tricks and things that we might need to know. So I just posted on my Bluesky, which is at Boston Joan, a cybersecurity easy to use guide, non-technical language from the nonprofit that I founded, the Critical Internet Studies Institute. And so feel free to look at that or go to criticalinternet.org and take a look at it on the research page. But we really got to take care of ourselves in these moments. And really tuning up your cybersecurity. It's not a lot of work, and it's going to save you a big headache because you only know you need privacy when you don't have it. And so it's better to be prepared. The last thing I want to say is that I study memes. And the most obvious meme nobody's talking about is Elon's black hat. And he thinks of himself as this black hat hacker that's broken into the government and socially engineered his way into the treasury, and he's going to abscond with all the data. It's an obvious data heist. But he believes he's living a meme. And so we need to be very clear about what our demands are, about what our bright lines are, and that we're not going to stop until Tesla is done with Musk. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Donovan. Your expertise is invaluable in times like these. And also, I do have your Meme Wars book. Our final speaker tonight is Valerie Costa, and she is the co-founder of the Troublemakers, a community organizing and environmental activism group in Seattle. A few weeks ago, she found herself suddenly thrust into the national spotlight when Elon Musk blasted a full tweet of disinformation and said Valerie was committing crimes. Valerie's courage in the face of harassment, threats, and intimidation has been extraordinary, and I'm happy to introduce her as the final speaker tonight.
Thank you for having me here. I hope someday that Costa is committing crimes is just like a really great t-shirt or campfire story. It's still a source of fear in my life, to be totally honest. It's not easy to be called out, to be lied about on on a huge platform like X by a man as powerful as Elon Musk. But I wanted to talk a little bit about fear because I have a relationship with it now in a way that I haven't actually. And I took about 24 hours after seeing that tweet, which shocked me, and talked with an attorney and thought about it, got some rest, and I'm like, I'm gonna fight back. I cannot stay silent in the face of this attempt to not only crush me personally and to try to take down troublemakers and other amazing groups organizing Tesla takedown protests, but he's trying to stop a movement. He's trying to squash the voice of the people. And one of the beautiful things that I experienced is I have been getting so much community support, so much support from people in my community in Seattle, the troublemakers and other groups here that I work with. But I've been getting messages, like love notes from people around the world, just like thanking me so much for speaking out and for the organizing I'm doing and the organizing around Tesla takedown. And I'm just like an organizer in Seattle and community, just like y'all are, just like people on the call here. We have an incredible global community that's watching us and is joining these protests. You know, we're in a moment right now where our politics in the United States and politics all over the world with the far right's rise, our politics of fear and control, the techno state, it's scary. But I believe in, and I think if we're going to have a politics, we need a politics that's rooted in empathy and care. And Elon Musk has actually said, this is a quote from him, that the fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy. Like, really? Empathy? For me, empathy is at the core of everything that I do. I care so much about community and the planet and the people on the planet. That is why I've chosen to join the Tesla takedown movement. Tesla takedown is a decentralized, community-driven movement. Here in the Seattle area, we have 8 protests planned on March 29th. We have 8 Tesla showrooms from just north of Seattle down to Fife, which is near Tacoma. It's incredible. And what's been really cool is now that we've been organizing for about a month, every week the protests are getting bigger and bigger. And more people are joining, more people are organizing, more people are showing up. And so this whole call tonight has been about lead up to March 29th and giving background about this movement. March 29th is going to be incredible. I can't imagine. That's just knowing it's like, what, 10 days from now, we're going to have the biggest day of action globally on Tesla. Go to TeslaTakedown.com, check out the map, add an action to the map, consider hosting an action, consider joining an action. You can, if you don't have a Tesla showroom near you, there are supercharger stations all over the world. Do an action, a protest there. You could also find a busy street corner and bring out some signs. Bring your friends, ask your neighbors. You'll meet people in your community, and ultimately meeting each other and meeting people in community is what keeps us safe. It's what keeps us connected, and it's what gives us strength and power to keep on, to keep putting pressure and calling out the absolutely devastating effects of what Musk and Trump are doing with the US government right now and all over the world. So I'm just asking everybody to, be on the right side of history. We have tremendous power when we work together, and I really believe that, and I've seen that in 20 plus years of being involved in social movements. It doesn't take many people to massively affect change. So thank you for coming to the call tonight, and see you on the 29th.
Thank you so much, Valerie, and thank you to all of our amazing speakers this evening, and thank you most of all to every single one of you watching. This is a nonviolent grassroots movement, and it's showing what people power is really about. All of you are making a real difference, from hosting events, showing up to events, speaking online, talking to your friends and family. We need all of it. And as everyone shared on this call, it is so critical right now. So let's get out there, hit this big goal of 500 protests across the world in one day, the 29th. And remember, you can find local protests and sign up to host one at TeslaTakedown.com, and find all the latest news and excitement on Bluesky at Tesla Takedown. Thank you all, and let's go save our country.